Buddies, this is the Brazilian Buddy Show. My name is Andrey, and I'm here to prove to you that we are more than samba, football, and carnival. I'm here with Amanda from Brazilingo. So, Amanda, good evening. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
So, Amanda, who are you and what do you do?
So, as you said, my name's Amanda Pereira or Amanda Pereira, depending what language you're speaking, right? And
Yeah.
I'm from the United States. I live in a small state called Connecticut, which is right next to New York and right below Boston. So we're kind of like the suburb right in between. It takes about an hour and a half to get to New York and an hour and a half to get to Boston. Other than that, most people don't know about Connecticut. And I am an English and Portuguese teacher, and I teach online, helping specifically catered to English for Brazilians and Portuguese for Americans or English speakers.
That's awesome. So, like, you do the both sides. Like, you speak Portuguese and you teach for Americans, and of course, you are native of English, so you can teach to Brazilians as well.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. I talked to you like for some minutes, and you speak really good. And why do you speak Portuguese? Like, how does it started?
So 12 years ago, back in 2008, I had gone with a group from my church to a orphanage in São Paulo in, what was the name of the place? Embu. And we stayed for 2 weeks and helped out just like with maintenance around the orphanage and helping out with the kids and stuff. And I just like really, really fell in love with the culture and the people and everything, the food. It was just like the country was beautiful. And I was only 13 at the time, so I was the same age as most of the kids that were living there.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a lot of friends, and one of the kids that was living there at the time, I promised him that I was going to learn to speak Portuguese because I knew I was going to come back. Like the passion I had for Brazil was just so strong. So I did. I went home. After that, I was so sad for the longest time to leave Brazil, and I just went to my library because in 2008 there were not a lot of resources for people who were learning English, or I mean Portuguese. So I just went to the library to see what they had, and they only had like one thing. They had Pimsleur, the beginner Pimsleur, like they weren't even videos. They were like CDs. Nobody even has CDs anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I just started off with that, and I would come home every day from school, and I would study like my schoolwork, and then I would study my Portuguese work on my own. And I just did that for several years and taught myself. I never had an actual Portuguese teacher or anything like that. But what really drove me was just I knew I was going to go back to Brazil once I hit 18.
Whoa, that's amazing. That's like make me feel really happy because like in general I think that Brazilians really like to show our culture. I think like every country do that. And when we listen like these stories, like make me feel really proud and like you speak Portuguese, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And like it was easy to learn, like to keep a conversation with someone.
So it depends when. In the beginning, no. I mean,
Mhm.
thank God for Google Translate because that helped me a lot. But although there's so many bad translations, you put one, you want to say one thing, and then Google tells you another thing, and it's like not even close to what you were trying to say. But I found a lot of Brazilian people online to speak with and practice, and some people from the orphanage that I had met when I was in Brazil, I still kept talking with them. So that really helped me a lot in the long run, just practicing conversation with a native and getting the feedback and corrections. I think that was probably the most helpful thing that I did to, achieve success in Portuguese.
Yeah, did you have problems with accents because you were like talking maybe with a person from the southeast and then like did you talk with someone of the north or the northeast?
Yeah, good question. So The first couple years that I was learning, I was only speaking with people from São Paulo. So it was always like the Paulista accent, and I learned words like manu. Yeah, that's kind of where I started. And then 3 years into learning my language is when I actually met my husband, who's from Rio de Janeiro. And then I was getting the Carioca accent. And so then it was kind of getting a little confusing. And during the time I was learning Portuguese too was when I was in high school and had to start learning Spanish at the same time. So that was a whole nother level of difficulty because my brain was just so confused. But yeah, so I think over the years my accent shifted from more of just the like São Paulo accent, and now it's I still think I have a little bit of like the R sound from São Paulo in my accent, but then like mixed with like the sh sound from the Carioca accent, so it's kind of a hot mess, but
Yeah,
it's okay.
you hit the point. Like, how can I translate man? It's like dude in English, like maybe. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like dude. And when we go to Rio, you have like the sound, and maybe for a foreigner, it's something really different to see. Like, for example, which word, for example, like um, escola in São Paulo and escola in Rio. So, like maybe that sound like for a foreigner it's something like difficult to understand. And I really and have you heard like the Northeast read like from the Northeast region the accent?
I've heard it in a couple of videos. I don't, most of the people I know either live in Rio or São Paulo. I mean, I know a couple, like I have a friend who lives in Acre and a few other places.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
yeah. But most of the accents I hear are usually either, the Paulista or Carioca.
And like, do do you have a word that it's really difficult in your opinion to speak?
Yes, substituição.
Ah, substituição.
I
Okay.
had to practice that one for like a full day to get it down because just the amount of syllables, I think it's like 7 syllables. Substituição. No, six. It's a lot. Yeah, and it has that nasally like sound, So
Hmm.
there's a lot going on with that word. I would say that's
Yeah,
probably the hardest word I've had.
yeah, I can see like I know that for example we have the R sound. If you're an American, for example, you have the word obrigado, and I know that in American accent it's like obrigado, obrigado. So I can see like you're not Brazilian. Like I can see that you are from the North America or something like that.
Okay.
And we have the R sounds different, like which were like obrigado or tudo bem, like for example. That's another situation. And it's cute for us. It's the same thing when we say Facebook, like for
Yeah.
for Americans, it's like oh so cute, and we have that same feeling when we hear like different accents. It's really
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's
so you were learning the language like for how many years, like to have that result?
yeah. So as of now it's been like 12 and a half years and counting that I've been speaking and learning. And I always say I say this all the time and I'll always say it. You never stop learning. Like you're always learning more things. So I can never say like, "Oh, I learned everything" cuz
Hmm.
still things I'm learning. But yeah, as far as obrigado, I just say valeu. Probably
Valeu, valeu, it's better. It's
valeu.
better. It's easier. Yeah. Valeu or okay. We use okay as well. And this is really fun. This is really fun. So your husband is from Rio, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever been to Brazil? Like in Rio?
Yeah, so we go every other year, and we're hoping to start going every year now. Um, Usually we try to go for at least a month. And again, we're gonna try to pick it up like maybe 2, 3 months out of the year. So I've gone 6 times so far, and then we should be going next year. So 6 and counting.
Amazing. Like in which cities in Rio? Because we need to say like Rio, it's a state, and you have the city as well. So yeah, like how many cities did you visit there?
So let's see. I've been to like Monsuaba and like Ilha Grande and like Angra dos Reis, and then Petrópolis is a really cool city that's like more mountainy, and then Nova Friburgo também, também. Yeah, Nova Friburgo is really cool. That's more of like a Swiss town. We went there for like our honeymoon, not honeymoon, but our like 1 year anniversary. And that was just really cool. Like I think Rio is a really nice state because there's so much like natural beauty and you can be in like the best parts of the beach or you can be in the mountains like within an hour or two. So as far as nature, I think it doesn't get much better than Rio as far as I've seen.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. It's an important state because we have so much history there. Like it was, I think, like the second capital of Brazil. I just don't remember the date, but like, how can I say this? Like the imperial family, when they were like living in Brazil, they were there. So you have, for example, Petrópolis, which is called Imperial City. So you have some like it's like a museum called Imperial Museum, something like that. So you have history of Brazilian colony there. Um, and you have Rio, of course, with Christ the Redeemer and the sugar. How would you say in English? Sugarloaf Mountain.
Yeah, Sugarloaf Mountain.
Sugarloaf Mountain. We say Pão de Açúcar. And like this is really interesting. And in São Paulo, just the capital or other cities as well?
Yeah, so the main ones I went was Embu-Guaçu and then Campos do Jordão was the other one, the German town with the cave
Yeah,
cars. I got a nasty scar in my leg from riding horses.
really?
Yeah, we were riding horses, and the guide who was guiding us around was drunk. So he was like just like guiding us around like drunk on these horses. And then these people came on these quads, like the four-wheelers, and almost ran us off the road. It was the most crazy experience I've ever had, but it was that's a really cool town too.
And about food, like here, do you have any favorite food in Brazil? Like your husband maybe cook for you some.
Yeah. So, and I cook Brazilian food too. I want to point that out.
Really?
Yeah, I make estrogonofe de frango. I make
Oh,
quiche de frango, bolinho de aipim. So brigadeiro, you know. So I'm learning to cook too. Cachorro quente, the Brazilian style. So yeah, lots of
cachorro quente, hot dog, our hot dog.
hot dog. Yeah, hot dog. Yeah. So my favorite food though would definitely be um, escondidinho de camarão.
Wow.
Yeah, escondidinho de camarão. There's a restaurant in Rio, in the city, the main city, called Bar do Adão. They have the best pastel. They have like so many good ones. And then the escondidinho de camarão is to die for. I'll say that's definitely my favorite.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed because you know, you told us like a tour in our cuisine, like wow, like sweet and salt. Like you tried a lot of like Brazilian stuff that we have here. Like that's really amazing. Like in when we talk about similarities, like about Americans, we have something maybe in common, like what, for example?
So we both have pizza, but the pizza's different. We have more crunchy crust here in the US. We have the hot dogs that we just put ketchup, mustard, and some relish and
Mm-hmm.
the hot dogs. But in Brazil, it's like you put them in the stew with the peppers and onions, and then you put corn and peas. And I know São Paulo does it a little different. You guys put like mashed potatoes and everything. We put
Yeah, yeah.
ovo de codorno, quail eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Of
so many
Codorna.
Yeah, queijo parmesan, ralado. Yeah, everything. And then one thing my husband always gets mad about. So you guys have pastel.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have empanadas. It's not American. It comes from the Spanish cultures. But he says they're not the same. They look the same. Everybody thinks they're the same, but I think they're a little bit different. The dough or something's a little different. But all the Americans think when they come to our parties and they're like, "Oh, empanada," and my husband's like, "No, it's pastel."
Nice. This is really nice. We can see a little bit of American cuisine because we have Pizza Hut. So we can see the differences. Like Pizza Hut, like you don't have so many things on that. Like in Brazil, I agree with you. Like we put a lot of things, like thousand of ingredients just put, and you have the Brazilian pizza.
Yeah.
And like, have you ever visited like some restaurant in US, like a Brazilian one, like Camila's? I don't know if so like famous in Connecticut. I don't know if you have.
Yeah. So I've never heard of Camila's, but we have a lot of Brazilian restaurants here. We have some that are just like locally owned, they're not chains. And then we have like the chain ones like Texas de Brazil. That is like a churrascaria.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very good. But the other food that came to my mind that's so different is bolo de cenoura versus
Mm-hmm.
carrot cake. Carrot cake in the U.S. is nothing like bolo de cenoura in Brazil.
Is it salt in America?
It's not salt. It's not salty, but we put like nutmeg and there's nuts in it, and then the icing is cream cheese frosting. We're in Brazil
Uh,
frosting, so it's totally different experience.
yeah. Yeah, about like when we talk about cuisine in America, like I've never been in US, so I just heard about like some pies, like apple pie, or because it's really common on movies, and I heard about Connecticut, like of course I don't know like any information to say to you, but the city I already heard. Like my cousin, she lives in Boston, so I know a little bit, and I love football, for example. I really like football. Yeah, football, not
American food,
soccer.
right?
And do you wanna hear something really nice? I already played in Brazil. We have some leagues here. I played like one season in Santos, which is a city next to mine, and the name of the team is Santos Tsunami, and I played as a cornerback there.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
we have our culture here as well. Like we really love like Hollywood and everything that in the West. I think that it's nice to see. Like California, we have the same vibe when we are talking about like some coastal cities that we have here. And like UFC, we love martial arts here and what, for example. Yeah, I think that's it. Like we love Marvel, that stuff. Like it's really nice.
Um,
And let's talk about like languages. So you teach for Americans and Brazilians, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah, and this is like a challenge for me because you are a teacher and we are talking English, so I know that on your head it's like, yeah, that's not correct, what he said, and nah. So I know that I'm like maybe I did some mistakes like talking to you right now, and if you're Brazilian and are watching this, like it's normal. Like if she can understand me, it's something completely normal. Of course, it's not our native language, so um, even that we have accent, I think that the most important thing is like practice, right? I don't know like what you talk about with your students, but like Brazilians have a little bit of scare to talk in any other language. Like I don't know if you feel the same thing as me.
Yeah. So I definitely think it's a people thing. I think everybody always goes through the period of fear to speak in another language. part of me does think that Brazilians feel this fear a little bit more. I notice, like, just in general, comparing stereotypically that Brazilians seem to be more nervous to speak. But most of the time, like, even if you make little errors here or there, if we're having a conversation, a lot of times, like, natives won't even pick up on them. Like, you can make a little error here, a little error there. We're not even going to notice. Like, even if you made a couple errors, nothing really registered in my head until you started talking about making errors. And then you said, I probably did some mistakes. And in that case, we would say, I make mistakes instead of do.
Okay.
Yeah, you make mistakes. But, like, probably if we were just chatting, like, over coffee, I wouldn't even pick up on it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things you have to be tuned in looking for the mistakes to notice. So I'm saying that for people to feel more comfortable to speak. Like, if you make little mistakes here and there, there's a good chance that the person you're talking to won't even notice them. Or if they do, they're not gonna, like, nobody's gonna tease you or make fun of you for making a mistake.
And what is the most like common mistakes that Brazilians do, in your
Okay.
opinion?
Yeah, so there's a few. The first one, we'll talk about the most obvious one, the TH sound. Everybody knows that is hard. Usually I hear people either make it sound like an F, like the word teeth, I'll hear teeth, teeth. Or they'll make, like, I think it's a D sound I'll hear them say, like instead of the, they'll say the. So that one is definitely the most common. And the problem is there's two different ways to say TH. So some words take that soft, like teeth, the unvoiced TH, and then some, like the word of them, makes the vibration, the them. So that definitely, it's like for us English speakers with that own sound, the no, bone, cone, like we have to practice to try to sound natural. The other sound Americans have a hard time with Portuguese is the TR. Like, I'm trying to think of a example of a word that has TR in
In
it.
Portuguese,
Yeah,
like
TR.
traquinas.
Traquinas.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll hear a lot of people say traquinas because the TR makes a chur sound in English. So yeah, traquinas instead of traquinas. So training that tra sound for English speakers is hard. Okay, now let's go back to Brazilian Portuguese speakers. You're not off the hook that easy. Okay, so we have the ED sound with the past tense verbs. There's 3 different ways to pronounce the past, depending on what the verb ends in. So sometimes it makes a t sound, like the word walked, walked. But all the time I'll hear Brazilians say walked, walked.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
they put an extra syllable at the end, walked, talked. Then we have the sounds that end with the D sound. So if it's a voiced consonant, which means that your voice vibrates, then it's going to end with the hard D sound. Let me think of an example. So not. Yeah, now everything's coming, all the soft ones. Parked, stopped. Give me a verb. Can you think of a verb?
In English,
Yeah.
wash.
Washed, because it's that soft. Dropped. Yeah, everything that's coming in my head now is all the ones that end with the T sound. Okay, we'll come back to it. But if it ends in a T or a D, it's going to be an id sound. That's the one where you guys say walked. If it ends with a T, like parted, then you do add the extra syllable, but only if the verb ends with a T or a D. Parted. So
Okay, yeah, I'm learning as well. I have one here. For example, you have the name man. Um, in the end, how can I explain this? Like in Portuguese, we would say like bem instead of man. We don't like say the N sound in Portuguese. So maybe we have that difficult. Or another example, like you have Facebook. So you have a consonant in the end of the word, but in Portuguese, we don't have this. So we always have a vowel in the end. So that's why in our head, we put a vowel there. So like Facebook turns into Facebook or hot doggy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something really common, and I heard this like all the time when I'm talking to a Brazilian in English.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I would definitely put that in the top like 5 mistakes. Like with the
Yeah.
last pinky, everything gets that extra syllable at the end. The other one I would say I hear Brazilians struggle with a lot is the silent letters in English. So whenever a word starts with K and it's followed by a consonant, it's usually going to be KN. Then that K is going to be silent. So like the word knock, it's not knock.
Okay.
Knowledge, not knowledge. Knee, not knee. Or when there's a B at the end of a word, like an MB sound, then the B is silent. So it's climb, not climb.
I say that climb.
Yeah, climb. No B. The B is
Okay.
silent, mudo. Or lamb instead of lamb. So the B is silent. That's another one that I hear a lot. And then the word castle, like castelo, castle, the T is silent. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not castle, it's castle. So a lot of the silent letters trip up Portuguese speakers a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I'm learning. Like, yeah, I say climb. Like, wow, for 20 seconds ago. Like now I'm saying climb. So that's really amazing. And I know that we have that, that things that we mixed Portuguese to English. So even names, like for example, you have Brad Pitt. So you have the actor Brad Pitt. In English, in Brazilian Portuguese is Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Any actor or person like Donald Trump, for example, like we put these vowels in the end and make like this funny words, and it's really common. And when we talk about the opposite, like for an American learning Portuguese. You already said, but if you want to like talk in general.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely the biggest ones that came to mind were that TR sound and the nasally sound. Also the L's at the end, the L, and you said M. That's another common one. Those consonants that come at the end of the sounds, they're very soft, and your mouth is more open in Portuguese. Like, man, when I'm on the spot, like nothing comes to my mind.
Bom.
Bom, bom. Yeah, it's almost like a NG sound in English. The bom, not
Yeah.
bom, bom.
And
That's
I was thinking another situation like NH or LH sounds.
yeah.
Yeah, like minhoca.
Minhoca, melhor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
melhor or uh yeah, I think that's it. I forgot as well. Like, do you have any word in Portuguese like just just to compare? Minhoca, canalha, for example.
Yeah. There's so
Canalha.
many, but like when you're on the spot, if you don't like have like a pre-made list, it's hard to think of something.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just in one row, like the this show, it's like this. And yeah, it was really nice to hear like about you have so many stuff about us, and like you have a Brazilian in your house, so you learned so much, and this make me feel really, really happy. And thank you for this exchange of cultures that we had. Yeah, I don't have anything to say. Just say thank you for the experience and to have you here. Do you have anything to say for us?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I literally just thought of the perfect word that has the NH sound in it. Galinha pintadinha.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I just had to throw that out there because it just came to my mind. I was like, it's so perfect. Yeah, but no, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. I love talking about Brazil and Portuguese and English and of course my country too. So these are like the best talks that I think I could have. So thank you again for inviting me on here and letting me, talk with you about all these things. And I hope that it'll be helpful to other people, that they'll be able to learn a thing or two from this.
And I have a challenge for you. Like, do you wanna say goodbye in Portuguese? Maybe. Like, if you can say the same things as you said, but in Portuguese.
Ah, ok. Um desafio. Gostei.
Yeah.
Gostei. Ok. Yeah. É,
Okay.
muito obrigada por me convidar aqui para falar com vocês. Foi um prazer. Eu adoro muito falar sobre tudo, sobre o Brasil, a cultura brasileira, a cultura americana e a língua inglesa e portuguesa. Então, muito obrigada por me convidar aqui para falar com vocês e eu espero que vocês conseguem aprender uma ou duas coisas com essa conversa.
Legal, legal. Eu agradeço muito também. Se você está entendendo o que eu estou falando, parabéns. Espero que você consiga melhorar o seu português. Eu fico muito feliz sendo brasileiro. Muito obrigado por ter assistido e tchau, tchau.
Tchau!